are the best Yu-Gi-Oh decks from Duelist Advance. Big dogs, I spent the hours of research on every single Yu-Gi-Oh deck from Duelist Advance, so you don't have to. And trust me, there were hours of research. Today I'm going to be telling you if these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies are top contenders or if the Duelists are advancing to the trash can. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Probably should say that in Spanish next time or something.
English or Spanish?
Baby, you got something in your nose.
Today, like I said before, we have made a tier list comprising of the decks from Duelist Advance. And I tried my best to include every single Yu-Gi-Oh deck that got support in Duelist Advance, whether directly or indirectly. This means that we'll be talking about some Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that may not have their exact name on the set, but will definitely benefit from it. And how we're going to be rating these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies is simply based on how powerful they are. How strong can they make an impact in today's Yu-Gi-Oh? Basically, how easy it is for you to be able to win with these particular Yu-Gi-Oh decks. And just because your boy puts one to advance to the trash can, it's no hard feelings. I want you to succeed, but I want you to understand how hard it is for you to succeed. Like usual, if there is a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that I missed, let me know down below in the comment section. The next tier list, I imagine, is going to be the meta tier list after North American World Championship qualifier. So I can't wait to see what you guys are thinking. But let's go ahead and start off this tier list with our very first deck, Argostars. Now, Argostars received some really interesting support. An Exceed monster that can just plop itself on top of the other Argostars monsters, and it allows you to be able to add an Argostars spell card from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good. On top of that, if you didn't cheat this card out and just use 2 monsters, you can detach 2 materials to plop 3 Argostars trap cards back to your side of the field. This doesn't solve the Argostars problem when it comes to being a top tier competitive deck, but it's definitely support that's going in the right way. I'm gonna put Argostars in needs help. Argostars have been assembling some pretty good pieces from Alliance Insight and now Duelist Advance. I actually think that it's a very good casual or even a locals based Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's just not strong enough to be able to compete with the big dogs. As far as the help that it exactly needs, I actually want to play a little game with you guys. When I put a particular strategy in needs help or below, I want you guys to tell me what do you think would make this deck stronger, putting it over the top. I can't wait to read what you guys have to say in that regard. But let's go ahead and move on to the new Yu-Gi-Oh archetype that was introduced in Duelist Advance, which is also going to start our new lore. The Artmage monsters found a way to turn art into weapons, kind of deadly. I don't know if you guys noticed, but you got Finimate literally making art, you got Graph Flare playing with fireworks, and you got Litera rocking the guitar. I was really good at Rock Band, and racistly, you can put me on bass. The good thing about this deck is that it has a lot of cool things going for it, and you can even change the type and attribute of the monsters on the field, which means Fiendsmith combo. The bad thing about this deck is that it doesn't really seem too powerful. Nervia, the imprisoned deity of creation, requires 3 Artmage monsters, can't be destroyed by card effects, but only when you have a card in the field spell zone. And then when you activate an Artmage monster, it becomes destroy all cards your opponent controls. But what if I wanted that Artmage monster effect? Like, I can't have both? You require 3 monsters. Artmage feels like a deck that's starting off to be okay, but it's definitely going to need that next Yu-Gi-Oh set. I'm actually pretty excited on what the support is going to be for Artmage because it does look like a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can be so much better. Right now in Yu-Gi-Oh, I see players just strictly using it as a Fiendsmith type Yu-Gi-Oh deck because it is one of the best Fiendsmith decks available. Now, Ashened got a new Yu-Gi-Oh card, Inferno of the Ashened. This card allows you to be able to get that Ascidian Ashen City that you've been trying to cook with. This card also allows you to be able to cycle 1 level 8 or higher Dark Pyro monster in your graveyard, and you should probably already know what card we're talking about. Unfortunately, as good as this card is, it doesn't really solve Ashen. The Ashen monsters are like the Tistina support that we had. It's like the UA support. It's even like Warrocks after it finished being tier 0 meta. It leaves a lot to be desired for a TCG exclusive, but I'm happy that Konami is actually making steps to make the deck better. For right now, advance into a trash can, it's going to lead a lot more work than just that one card, but in the future, maybe a lot stronger. Now you guys already know who this is. This is Kaiba Man, and he's my arch nemesis. As Black Atlas, the master of faster, the king of disaster, we don't really play with blue eyes white dragons over here. It's not really a race thing. We leave that between the red eyes black dragon lovers and the blue eyes white dragon lovers. But blue eyes got an interesting monster in the new Kaiba card. This card requires you to play 3 blue eyes white dragons in your deck. Listen, the only reason why this goes into next best is because of the previous Blue Eyes support. The new Kaiba card makes the casual version of Blue Eyes better, but from a competitive perspective, you have to play more bricks. The 3rd Blue Eyes inside of your deck, and potentially the Chaos Ritual cards so you can make Magia. I'm not sure if Brick Eyes wants to play more bricks. Still a really good Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Burning Abyss got some support out of nowhere. The new monster, Buoy of Dawn's Light, allows you to be able to negate a monster on the field, summon itself to the side of the field, and prevent monsters in your furthermost columns from being destroyed. That's some sneaky VA support. There's also a new spell card that works with Fairy and Fiend monsters, as well as can recover itself from the graveyard, and a new fusion monster. Who are you fooling, Konami? This is 100% Burning Abyss support. Because of that, Burning Abyss is now TCG exclusive again as a good Yu-Gi-Oh deck, but where exactly does it fit? We don't necessarily have a blueprint for this Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and to be honest with you, I think it's the most exciting TCG exclusive cards that we have from Duelist Advance. I'm gonna put it in potentially dangerous. One of the best things about Burning Abyss is being able to send cards from your deck to the graveyard. The last 2 strategies that were able to successfully be able to do that were Tier 1 and Tier 0 respectively in their heights. Burning Abyss having an entire graveyard at its playground is always something we need to look out for. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh deck that could be modernized and become incredibly powerful. Eldlich got a new spell card, Sudden Thunderous Swamp, and this card does not look like Eldlich support until you read it. Well, you can look at it and see the Eldlich support in it. Getting a continuous trap card from your deck or graveyard that includes the effect of special summoning itself, you not slick, Konami. Eldlich is known more for it being a really cheap and easy to play deck than it is from being one of the better decks in the game. I don't think it's appropriate to give it a potentially dangerous tag because while this card does help, I don't really see the danger.
I am the danger.
But it's definitely a card to make it better. I'm gonna put it in the needs help. Flame Swordsman. Joey Wheeler's monster. Hey. I know you guys know I'm Black Atlas. Did I tell you that I'm Black Hogan and I'm Black Wheeler too? Hold on, let me do it in my Brooklyn accent. Yeah. Ever since we lost KD, Kyrie, and Irvin, we've been a dumpster pile. Mainly because we're New York. Yeah, no, I'm gonna put this in advance. There are 2 ways to play Flame Swordsman. The first is the very low to the ground version with a ton of hand traps. The second is a high-end combo version, Infernal Pool. Regardless, the new Flame Swordsman card is a banger. It 1000% helps. The only unfortunate side is that the imports for these Yu-Gi-Oh decks, both sides are not good enough. Next is going to be Ignister. Ignister got the bulk of its support in Alliance Insight, and while the new monster, Link Slayer at Ignister, does do a little bit more for the deck, I don't think that it does enough to change the outlook of the deck. Not a terrible Yu-Gi-Oh deck by any stretch of the imagination, but when you need your entire extra deck to combo, and your combo isn't, I mean, it's cool. I'm gonna put you in needs help, and we both know you need the help. You trying though, you trying. Labrynth got a new trap card called Trapaholic, and yes, we are alcoholics for trap cards. This new card, Trapaholic, allows us to be able to destroy a set card like Transaction Rollback or Black Goat Laughs to be able to search a normal trap card from our deck, like Welcome or Big Welcome. Yo, I think that this makes Labrynth the top contender. I'm not coping. Labrynth will top the North American World Championship. It might win it, and you might have to give it up for mommy milkers. The deck was already incredibly underrated, and I think it's time that this deck gets its proper shine. Just like how when you get your proper shine, big dogs, you should get it with the Raven Wing sleeves. The best sleeves in the entire world. Big dogs, I've been using this brand for about 3-4 years, and I've been perfecting the style, increasing the craft. This is our 3rd version of the sleeve, and it's like Cell from Dragon Ball Z. He just keep getting better. Now run them hands. go ahead and go to TheCaliEffect.com and pick up your Raven Wing sleeves as well as your accessories today. We have a wide accessory of mats like this bad puppy, and of course, merch is on the way. But moving on into Lunalights, this deck got a ton of good support. I actually really like the way that Konami has been doing Yu-Gi-Oh sets, because before we used to get support for Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that was just trash. We didn't know what it was doing. But now, even the Yu-Gi-Oh strategies in the lower bracket of the tier list, the support puts it on a better track to be competitive. I can't be mad at it. I think every single Yu-Gi-Oh strategy genuinely benefited from this set, or at least the ones that got benefit from this set. Lunalight is yeah, definitely benefited. One thing that I've been noticing is that Konami is making us use polymerization over and over again. Some of the OG Yu-Gi-Oh strategies like Cyber Dragon and now Lunalight emphasize on us playing it, which is actually a pretty cool thing. I like that it pays homage to the oldest fusion spell of all time and still makes it a good card. That being said, the new monsters in Gold Leo and Silverhound, phenomenal, everything that the deck has ever needed. And the new fusion boss monsters in Perfume Dancer and Lunalight Liger Dancer. Perfecto! I gotta start using that, I like that. This has brought Lunalight from the depths of hell to the top contending tables. It will be one of the best decks in Duelist Advanced format. Now, in that same breath, Monarch got an equal amount of support, and that's probably the only thing I'm gonna talk about when it comes to equal. Scheme of the Monarch starts off decently strong until you realize that in order to get its full effects, you gotta play one of the old school Monarchs, which are at the very youngest 17 years old. The other card, Rebellion of the Monarchs, requires you to discard one card and your opponent gets to add a card from your deck to your hand. So not only is it ash bait, your opponent gets to add the card, pretty much meaning that if you want to get a particular card, you have to play 3 of a certain card, making the Monarch deck a lot less flexible as an engine. The new monster, Aedos, the Underworld Monarch, does a couple of things correct, but unfortunately it's a Monarch, meaning that it needs another card to get it started. And the last card, Culmination of the Monarchs, is, it's like a crazy good card if you already have the deck going. On top of that, this version of the Monarchs doubled down on being a non-extra deck Monarch deck. And as a player that played in the Monarch format, the best version of Monarchs were the extra deck version. This deck is 1000% needs help. It's not going anywhere. Now, Nouvelles got some pretty good support. Instead of a Hungry Hamburger, they got Angry Burger, which is always treated as Hungry Hamburger. They really missed out on an opportunity to call this Hangry Burger. That would have been pretty cool. This card kind of works as incantation cards, getting you closer into your Nouvelles cards. And the other new card, Chef du Nouvelle, and the recipe card help the deck come a little bit along the way. I think that this deck is actually potentially dangerous. Hear me out, guys, hear me out. Yu-Gi-Oh players do not read, and I will be the first one to tell you, I ain't reading all these Nouvelles cards. I could see in a potential world where the first few wings come out and this deck is cooking at a regional level simply because players did not read and they attacked into the cards, they targeted to the cards, they were not prepared for anything like this. But overall, one of Nouvelles' biggest weakness would technically be Droll and Lockbird because it's a ritual deck, but also mass destruction cards like the Mitsurugi Monster or Topologic Bomber Dragon, which just so happened to be in the top decks in the game. Now, Primite got a new fusion monster, which is, it's alright. It allows you to be able to cook your opponent's monsters based on the normal monsters that you have in the graveyard. And the new Primite Fusion card allows you to be able to fuse from your banishment or graveyard so long as you include a normal monster. I think this is pretty good. I'm also going to put this in potentially dangerous, and it's mainly because I see a way where Bestial Primite becomes a lot stronger. This was already a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that was doing well for itself, and these new cards can only help the deck. Psychic's got so many new cards, it's a completely different deck. But we also have to talk about the cards that it also received inside of Battles of Legends Monster Mayhem. The main card I want to talk about for Psychics and Duelist Advance is Mind Procedure, which allows you to be able to search Emergency Teleport. It means that Emergency Teleport is now a 1-card combo. But also the new Punk support and No Punk Rising Scale works so perfectly with this deck because the deck is full of Emergency Teleport targets and also drains your life points. This deck has some pretty good combos. I think that Psychic is one of the most underrated decks in the game right now. Players aren't paying attention. I'm gonna put it in the next best. Now, the new RB strategy. I swear to God, if I was a 43-year-old white man that lived in Arlington, Texas, and I seen the RB strategy, I tell you what, this might be one of the best decks. But unfortunately, I'm not that old, and I'm not white, and I'm not from Texas. So I can kind of move the power tools out of the way and see the deck for what it is. This deck is inherently better than Ashened. It's better than Tistina. It's better than YuGiOh. It is not better than Mitsurugi. The combos that I've seen with this deck are not dangerous, but the support that it's going to receive is probably going to be dangerous. Now, I could just be coping with Earth Machine, but last time I checked, Machina Citadel is a 3,000 attack monster that can be summoned easily with this deck and don't need to go to the extra deck. Bro, I'm summoning drills, I'm bringing hammers, I'm bringing my tool when it comes out there, and I'm ratcheting it up and cooking your entire deck. If Konami continues the trend to make TCG strategies actually good, RB stands at potentially dangerous, because it is a one-card combo deck with Rescue Ace cards or Sky Striker cards, and it does mess with Earth Machine pretty decently. I don't think it's terrible, it's just not as good as Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi's crazy, and that's a pretty high bar to get over. Now, Sky Strikers. Sky Strikers have plot armor when it comes to support. The new support Sky Striker A0 reminds me of that Kendrick Lamar song, Not Enough, but soon enough this deck will get Sky Striker Ace Camellia, possibly even Injustice Hunters. I think right now this is one of the next best decks out of the set simply because it is a solid Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, but if lore Yu-Gi-Oh decks are the decks that we are going to see and Sky Striker officially has lore, it's going to be the next best. On that same note, Snake Eyes got more powerful because of Sky Striker. Just one Sky Striker card is now full combo because it can search Infernal Flame Banshee, which can search Snake Eyes Ash. The deck also doesn't play a ton of bricks. I think that it's potentially dangerous. In my opinion, Snake Eyes never really went anywhere. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh strategies have been power crept so much, this deck is almost an afterthought. But now that it has a full combo without committing its normal summon, it's something worth exploring. These are not the Super Quantums you may know back in the day. The Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that's just complete cheeks. The new card Super Quantum Black Layer allows you to be able to summon itself anytime a monster effect is activated by your opponent, even during their turn, and then even helps out the deck by allowing you to Exceed summon and then attach a card from your graveyard as Exceed material. Super Quantum Fairy Zayton also powers up the deck. This card allows you to be able to special summon it by controlling a Super Quantum and can modify its level. But the best part about it is that it can send a Super Quant card from your deck to the graveyard to be able to special summon a Super Quant monster from your deck, which is very often most of the time. That card's the best card in the deck. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, summoning a Super Quantum Mech King Great King Magnus is ridiculous, but if I'm being honest, this is a worse Lunalight deck. Lunalight summons a impossible monster to beat, does it on a little bit of a more consistent basis, and doesn't require you to use all of these other crazy things to make, but this deck's kind of good too. Tistina got a new monster, Miasma Dragon, which helps the deck become a lot better. Its inboards can consistently be Silhouette, Right Rapid, and Verugus, or IP Masquerade and Verugus. What? That's better. Again, it's not terrible to get good support, but it's not enough to be able to compete. Now, the Utopic deck is a really interesting one, because if you play this deck pure, you just might struggle. But once you start sprinkling YuGiOh cards in here, it might be one of the next best decks. I don't think that the Utopic version of YuGiOh is better than Mitsurugi, but I do know that this deck is fairly strong. You guys should have already peeped game about Vanquish Soul. This is a top contender, dog. What are we saying? What I don't like about Vanquish Soul is that the deck does lack in starter cards. Vanquish Soul Start, ironically, isn't a starter, but Holy Sue does allow the deck to get there while providing the deck rank 5 options for when the eventual K9 cards come out. Ancient Fairy Dragon does get support. Yep. And so does Star Seraph and Tellarknight. Now, if you guys didn't know, there's this guy that posts in my comment section. Quite frequently, that's a Tellarknight player. Go ahead and check out his content because he does play Tellarknight. He swears that this deck is probably closer to here, but in reality, those moon cards that actually make these decks better. And that's all that I have for the best decks post Duelist Advance. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you want to support the channel, consider joining my Patreon as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors, or go into TheCaliEffect.com and buy a nib sleeve. You're gonna get some pretty good sleeves. As always, big dog, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. And if you want to see more amazing content, be sure to check out these so I can catch you on the next one.